Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a early round draft strategy video. In this video, I'm not going to go throughout the whole 2021 fantasy football mock draft. We're going to focus on the first 5 or 6 rounds of the draft and talk about my early round draft strategy and kind of how it changes throughout the draft, because you might want to go into the draft with one sole focus, right? I want to go double running back at pick 8 and 17. I want to go double wide receiver. I want to get a running back and a wide receiver, but you have to understand that going into the draft with just one strategy basically puts you inside of a complete and utter box, because then you're going to just talk yourself into, I need to draft a running back here, I need to draft a wide receiver here, and you're going to get in your own head, and then you're going to reach for a position when you didn't have to reach, and you should have taken another position where the value was just so much better. So that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video. I do genuinely have a early round draft strategy. In the first 3 rounds of the draft, I want to exit those rounds with at least 2 running backs. I'm ambitious. I might fuck around and take 3 running backs in the first 3 rounds, but the reason why I like to get 2 running backs at least is because the workhorses come off the board so fast. The guys that are going to be touching the ball at the running back position a significant amount of times comes off the board very, very fast. So I like to get them early, scoop them up early, and then in the middle rounds, attack that wide receiver position. But again, the reason why I talk about not going in there with a locked on strategy is because, hey, if that doesn't work and the wide receiver value is there and I don't love the value of running back, I'm going to take the wide receiver. Because I'm not going in here to trap myself in that box. I'm going to escape the fucking box if that happens and draft the best position of value. Here, again, we're going to try to get 2 out of 3 running backs in the first 3 rounds. I apologize for that loud noise, but if it doesn't end up working, we're just going to look at it differently. So if you guys do end up enjoying this video, make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below. I would truly appreciate it a ton. I try to help you guys win your 2021 fantasy football leagues, and people in the past in the comment section will talk about how I helped them. So hopefully those comments are assuring enough to you for a reason to subscribe. So thank you to anyone who's been subscribed for a while, or if you just subscribed now. So getting into the beginning of the draft was Dalvin Cook, followed by Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, Derrick Henry, and Nick Chubb. The first couple picks are pretty locked in. Christian McCaffrey is probably the number 1 pick or the number 2 pick. Dalvin Cook, same thing. And then you see a combination of Kamara, Barkley, Henry, Chubb, Jonathan Taylor in the first 6, 7 picks. So we're about to be up here. And a lot of running backs have been taken, but we're not at the point where I feel like you have to necessarily take a wide receiver, even if another running back comes off the board. Cam Akers at the 7th pick. I love Cam Akers. If you guys watched yesterday's video, I took him in the first round of my mock draft, but at pick number 7, to me, that is a little bit ambitious. I'm going to take Jonathan Taylor, and I do kind of like Zeke a little bit more as well. Those guys are very close to my rankings. I like Jones a lot as well, but without Rodgers, I'm not too confident I would take him at 8 here. So we're going to go with Jonathan Taylor again. Definitely a toss-up between him and Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott definitely has the full-on fucking stranglehold of this backfield. I think Marlon Mack will be involved with the Colts. I think that we will be seeing the other running back involved there as well, whose name is escaping my head at the current moment. So there's going to be 3 guys getting touches in this backfield, but at the end of the day, I still believe that Jonathan Taylor will be seeing an overwhelming amount of touches in this backfield, and you are going to be very happy with Jonathan Taylor. But I would understand completely if you ended up taking Ezekiel Elliott at that pick, because I think he's going to have a tremendous bounce back season. But I think that this Colts offense with Carson Wentz, if he plays up to his ability with the defense playing so strong, they're going to be able to run a lot in those games, whereas the not the Colts, because that's what I just talked about, whereas the Dallas Cowboys might be trying to throw later in games, because that defense last year was completely and utterly limp dick. They were flashed out there. They could not stop anything. That's why we saw that game with the Falcons versus the Cowboys, where the Falcons score 7 million points. The Cowboys have to score 7 million other points in order to catch up. So it's going to be very tough for this Cowboys defense, but hopefully they end up improving. Again, Jonathan Taylor was the pick there, but you could probably argue for a couple other picks there. I like Aaron Jones a lot as well. I actually have Aaron Jones ranked ahead of Jonathan Taylor, but again, without knowing 100% on Aaron Rodgers, I'm not sure I would take Jones there right now. Now, again, this could be completely different 1 week from now, 2 days from now, where Rodgers just ends up being fine and going back to camp. So we did get our first running back of the draft. After that was Ezekiel Elliott, Devontae Adams, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, as well as Stephon Diggs. So maybe we'll be able to get 2 running backs in the first 3 rounds, but that's because not all running backs went in the first round. A couple of wide receivers and a tight end have came off the board. So if this was all running backs and Kelce was available, you better believe I'm slapping the draft button on Travis Kelce. You have to, again, adapt your draft strategy. I like Austin Eckler a lot as well. I see top 10 potential with him due to the fact that with Justin Herbert under center, he was so good. The team was so good. It should be obvious that Austin Eckler is one of the better pass-catching running backs in the league, and pass catching for fantasy football is super important. After Metcalf came Antonio Gibson, so we're going to look at running back. Again, with Rodgers not necessarily there, at this point in the second round, you have to be confident taking him because even with Jordan Love, we've seen so much talent out of Aaron Jones himself that I believe he will be just fine, completely fine without Aaron Rodgers in the second round. As a top 5 pick, as a top 6 pick, no. But in the second round, very much yes. I like that. Very nice. I like. But if he wasn't available, I don't think I would have taken Mixon. I think I'm more comfortable with Mixon deeper down in the second round or early third round. I like DeAndre Swift. I like Najee Harris. Najee Harris probably would have been the only guy I felt confident enough picking there at the running back position. If not, probably would have went wide receiver with a guy like A.J. Brown, who, even with Julio Jones there, people are starting to fucking piss their pants on A.J. Brown. People are starting to get so nervous for some reason, it seems like. Seems like all that talk about A.J. Brown being a top 5 wide receiver is gone for some people. Some people are panicking on A.J. Brown. I'm not panicking at all. I actually really do like A.J. Brown still. This offense is going to be tremendous in Tennessee. So, again, back to the main focus of the video. After I went with Aaron Jones came J.K. Dobbins, George Kittle, me Timbers, DeAndre Hopkins, and Joe Mixon. I like Dobbins a lot as well. I think I am a little bit worried about Gus Edwards getting a lot of touches, but I do think J.K. Dobbins is by far and away the better pass-catching running back in that system. And for fantasy football, even in standard leagues, you're really looking for these guys to get the receptions, to heavily just get a knock over these other guys who aren't going to be seeing as many receptions. After Mixon came Pat Mahomes, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Justin Jefferson, and Terry McLaurin to start off the third round. Mahomes going in the second round. This doesn't necessarily go too much into my draft strategy in a one-quarterback league. In the first 5-6 rounds, I'm not looking to get a quarterback. I'm just not. Unless Mahomes is sitting pretty in the 4th or 5th round, there's no way I'm picking one. There's just no way. I think that in the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th round, you can find a guy that finishes in the top 5 of the quarterback position. Much harder at running back, much harder at wide receivers. That's why you kind of load up on these running backs early. Again, we got our 2 running backs early. But I just talked about if Jones wasn't there, I might have taken a wide receiver. I would have taken Kelce if he was there because I think the tight end position is very important in fantasy football. And while I normally like to wait, if you take a guy early, it's set it and forget it. Kelce's in your lineup every single fucking week because he's going to beat down the defense every single week. He is matchup proof. He's matchup proof. Some of these late round guys, they are not matchup proof. Again, we're going to be talking about the first 6 rounds in this video, and then we're going to call it a close. If you wanted to see a full mock draft, you can actually check out yesterday's video I did on Yahoo as well. I did a whole however many rounds there are on this website, 15-round draft. Talked about it all, so if you want the full look, check that out. But this video, I think, is going to be better for just your whole first round, couple of rounds of the draft, because I'm going really in-depth here and just going straight through my brain, implanting whatever knowledge I have into the microphone, and hopefully at you. So I hope you are enjoying. After Terry McLaurin came at the board, came Darren Waller, DeAndre Swift, Najee Harris, David Montgomery, A.J. Brown, Josh Jacobs. So here is when the triple running back strategy goes out the window. It's out the window. After Jacobs gets picked, you know it's just a absolute shitstorm at running back. I'm going to get a top 5 potential wide receiver in Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley is now going to be great with Julio gone. He would have been great with Julio in the lineup. So it doesn't really matter. But it definitely opens the door up to more opportunities to get targets in this offense. Without Julio Jones, he's played good with Jones in the lineup again. He's also played good with Jones out of the lineup, so you should be relatively confident regardless of how it works. I like Calvin Ridley a lot. While Atlanta's defense might completely suck ass again, the offense should be able to be pretty solid with Matt Ryan. I don't think he's really lost a step. And even if he's lost a step, he hasn't completely lost a step to where he's going to be terrible for real life. So after Calvin Ridley came Miles Miles Sanders, followed by Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, and Chris Carson. You're going to see this in basically every single league you play in. The good old quarterback run where someone's going to pick a quarterback. It could happen here in the early rounds. It could happen in the later rounds where someone takes a quarterback and the next person has shit directly in their pants. They have panicked completely. That's why you come prepared. This person has completely panicked. So they think they're going to lose out on the next quarterback, so they take Kyler, when in reality, no other quarterbacks went here. They could have easily gotten Kyler right here, probably. So don't panic. Do not panic with the quarterback position again. Wait if you want. Take one early if you want. But I prefer to wait. I think that's the best strategy when attacking your fantasy draft. After Chris Carson came Julio Jones, Michael Thomas, and Myles Gaskin. I like Julio Jones. I'm fine with him going in the 3rd, 4th round because he has top 10 potential. He always has. He's not injury prone. He got hurt last year, sure. Missed a couple of games the year before, but overall in his career, he is not an injury-prone player. After Myles Gaskin came Keenan Allen. So again, we got our 2 running backs. Looking at running back here, I don't love it. I don't love any of these guys. I do like Mike Davis enough to take him in the 4th round, so I'm going to take him here. But at wide receiver, yeah, I like Allen Robinson more, so I'm going to take him. Again, make sure that you don't go in the draft thinking in a box. Don't be like, hey, I need 3 running backs in the first 4 rounds, because then you just would have taken Mike Davis when Davis could buy far and away easily be available in the 5th round, because Mike Davis is not a household name. He's not. Last year, he helped a lot of people out when Christian McCaffrey got hurt, but not everyone knows about Mike Davis. But they will after this year, I'll tell you that much, because as the Atlanta workhorse back, going in the 4th, 5th round, that is going to be some tremendous value. But again, Allen Robinson, he has done it with so many shit quarterbacks. This guy has played with Blake Bortles, produced. Played with Nick Foles, produced. Played with Mitch Trubisky, produced. How will he do with Andy Dalton? Probably good. How will he do with Justin Fields? Probably good. So, to me, it's kind of a no-brainer that he should probably be a top 12 wide receiver, if not a top 10 guy. So after I went with Allen Robinson came Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Those are 2 guys that I'm just unanimously off of. Would I be surprised if these guys both were top 10 receivers? No. But I do think that with Antonio Brown staying healthy for a full 17 games, if he's able to play every game next year, then you are going to be so disappointed with Godwin and Evans, because Brady doesn't just lock on to one guy. He's not like, Evans, that's the best guy out there. I'm going to throw the ball to him 12 times a game. He doesn't fucking do that. He does not do that. He's going to throw the ball to the guy who's open, whether that's Gronk, whether that's Godwin, whether that's Antonio Brown, whether that's Mike Evans. He basically does not care who you are. As long as you're open, he'll throw you the ball. Which is great for real football. You can win the game in real life throwing the ball to everyone, but for fantasy, it's obviously not as ideal. Hopefully you guys understand that sentiment there. After Chris Godwin came Amari Cooper, Lamar Jackson, Robert Woods, James Robinson, Chase Edmonds, Mike Davis. Why in the fuck is James Robinson going ahead of Mike Davis? Now, I am James Robinson's number 1 fan, number 1 prostitute in all of Kazakhstan. That's me. I'm number 1 Mike Davis fan, number 1, number 1, James Robinson fan. I really am. I love James Robinson. But with ETN there in the 4th round, this guy is smoking that loud package. He just has to be. Has to be. There's no way you do that. Mike Davis, literally a fucking workhorse on the Atlanta Falcons. Probably, in my opinion, he will be. James Robinson, not a workhorse. Definitely not a workhorse. Should have been. But Urban Meyer said, fuck you, Nick. Fuck everyone who liked James Robinson. After Mike Davis came Adam Thielen and Tyler Lockett in my pocket. Skirt. Lockett. Lockett is an interesting pick because this guy's going to have multiple games this year. 3-4 games where he literally carries this Ben guy, puts him on his fucking back like Luke when he carried Yoda type of deal. And he is going to beat the ever-living shit out of a team. But the other times, Lockett's sleeping, but you're always starting him because of the hope that he has that knockout fucking one-punch power, which he has. Very interesting. Same thing with Amari Cooper was like that in the past, but last year he started getting it on until the early morning. He was very safe every single week, so interesting. Maybe that changes with Lockett. After that was Hockenson, a guy I like, and Kareem Hunt. So again, our first 4 rounds, we're going to do 6 rounds here. I mean, 4 or 5 rounds is really the early rounds, but since we're at that turn pick, I feel like I would not do justice to the video if I didn't do an extra round, you know what I'm saying? But the first 4 or 5 rounds to me are definitely the early rounds of the draft. Got 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers. Again, I'd be perfectly happy if we didn't even have 2 running backs here. I would be, because I'm not locking myself into a strategy, but I do think the best strategy is to get 2 or 3 running backs in the first 3 rounds. I'm just going to say that continuously because the running backs now, if you waited, you don't have a single running back, or you only have 1 running back, your second starting running back is going to be a guy that might not even be a fucking starter this year. So definitely something to be worrying about. I like Damien Harris too much to not take him here. Inside of the 5th round, I think he is the guy in New England. But Nick, you could have waited like 2 more rounds to take him. I understand. But when I see a guy that I actually want to draft, I'm going to draft him. When I feel like he may not come back to me in the 6th round, I'm going to take him because I think Damien Harris is the guy in New England. While he doesn't have the receiving numbers in the NFL that he has had in college, I think that that's something you need to look into because he does have legitimate hands. He's not a fucking guy like Derrick Henry where he can't catch the ball. He can catch the ball. We just haven't seen it with the defense being stronger in New England, with the fact that Damien Harris is the guy. Rex Burkhead is gone. This offense is opened up for Damien Harris. I genuinely think people are going to be very mistaken sleeping on Damien Harris. So, again, not really a sleeper because he's in the 5th round, right? 6th round, 5th, 6th round pick pretty much every single draft. But people are going to regret missing out on him. So, looking at the draft board right now, after we went with Damien Harris, we see Deontay Johnson, followed by Travis Etienne and Leonard Fournette. Fournette, Ronald Jones, those are 2 guys that I like, but not this early. Definitely not this early. I think when you're going for a backfield that is so easily a 1-2 punch, but not even a 1-2 punch, right? He just runs the hot hand, but Bruce Arians, I've said this so many times, he runs the bullshit hot hand approach. He'll tell you next week is Ronald Jones week, and then it's not. It's just not. It's Leonard Fournette week. And then next week is Leonard Fournette week. Then it's Ronald Jones week. Like, the guy's just straight up lying to your face every single Sunday in the press conference that it's almost crazy. After Leonard Fournette was Russell Wilson. So with this 6th pick here, we could really go anywhere. We got our 2 starting running backs, our 2 starting wide receivers, and we got our flex. So we could go wide receiver here easily. We can go quarterback. Now, I'm not a guy who takes quarterbacks early, but Dak in the 6th round, certainly good value. If he's able to stay healthy, he should be very good because this team's going to be throwing a lot. At tight end, Mark Andrews is a guy that is getting underrated. Last year, he was kind of overrated, right? Not in my opinion. Going into last year, I loved Mark Andrews, but he just didn't get enough volume last year. But now going into this year, he's fallen deeper down the draft where I feel pretty confident in taking him, but I'm probably just going to end up going wide receiver here. The running backs, I just don't love. I'm just going to wait till later to select some more, where I like a guy like Kupp, like Moore, like Golladay on my team. I'm not super bullish on Golladay. I think that Danny Dimes limits Kenny Golladay. I think he does. But I do think that he should still be a top 24 wide receiver and does have some upside because Daniel Jones could definitely break out, but there's so many issues with the fact that he turns the ball over like it's his job. His job is to throw the ball to the other team, or to his team, not to the other team. It seems like that's what it's. I just said the wrong fucking thing because really it seems like his job is to throw the ball to the other team or hand the ball to the other team because he fumbles all the time. So we're going to go Golladay here, top 24 wide receiver in my book. Sucked ass last year because he got hurt, had that hip injury, but I think he's fine. I think he's good to go. And we're going to get Kenny Golladay here. 3 running backs in the first 6 rounds and 3 wide receivers. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's a little bit shorter because we're just talking about the early rounds of the draft. If you wanted a full mock draft, make sure you check out yesterday's video. I hope you guys did end up enjoying. I love you guys all so much. If you have any questions about my strategy, again, make sure to leave any comments down below. Very interesting how Herbert went ahead of Dak Prescott. That's a little bit crazy in my book, but thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys all. I hope you have a great rest of your guys' day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with another banger of a video. As always, guys, stay safe. Goodbye.